Are you looking for a way to help your brick-and-mortar business drive more traffic and increase your sales? Look no further than the Receipt Paper Podcast. In this podcast, Joanne and Kyle provide their sage advice on how to make your brick-and-mortar store the hottest spot in town. Whether you're just launching a new business or trying to grow an existing one, these informative episodes will leave you inspired. In each episode, Joanne and Kyle take on a different topic related to running a successful business. They offer practical tips based on their own experience as owners of multiple brick-and-mortar locations. So whatever challenges you're facing, they have actionable advice for you. From finding a location and executing your build-out, to merchandising and customer experience, to sales and marketing, Joanne and Kyle have you covered. With helpful advice from these experienced entrepreneurs, you are sure to learn how to increase your sales and have your business running out of receipt paper in no time. Let's dive right in.
Welcome back to episode number 13 of the Receipt Paper Podcast. I am your host with the most, Kyle Strubing. I'm sitting here alongside with my business partner, life partner, all things partner, Joanne Metzger, soon to be Strubing. Jojo, baby, how we doing today?
We're good. Got my iced coffee going. Need a little pep in my step today, so.
Yeah, we're both kind of dragging a little bit. I know Texans try to have this whole, like, it's not that hot. It's like this every year, but we're like,
hot.
it's hot today. It's hot. Once you're what? It's been like this for a couple weeks now. It's just
like 110 the other day.
yeah. And nobody wants to hear about the weather, and you can't stand it, no doubt. But we're definitely dragging a little bit today.
Yeah, it affects your energy. But I'm excited for this episode. Before we dive in, though, I did want to remind you that this episode is sponsored by Tap Mango, our preferred loyalty and rewards program. Excellent program for collecting customer data, texting customers, and getting them back through their door. We use it every day at our business and highly recommend you check them out. You can get a free demo with them. Just go to masterbrickandmortar.com/tapmango, set yourself up with that free demo and check it out, see if it's right for you.
I'll say this before and I'll say this again. This is the service that we use with the highest ROI for sure. Everybody talks about what's some marketing hacks. Yes, it's great to get new contacts, but leveraging your current contacts is the best way to do it. And this is how we do it and have done it for a very, very long time. Go check out Tap Mango for sure.
Awesome. All right, so today's episode is something that we actually experienced recently, and we thought it would be a great idea to bring to all of you, and it is how to handle negative reviews. I know when you first get into business, you're like, oh, I'm never going to get a negative review. Like,
It's
you have
gonna
an
happen.
awesome service, but at the end of the day, you are not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Something might go wrong. Things happen, and people like to go online and especially share their negative experiences. And, they don't always share the positive experiences. You got to give them that little extra encouragement to go do that. But they for sure share and talk about those negative experiences and leave you negative reviews. So today we're going to talk about how we handle those negative reviews in our business. We have a fun little acronym for you to help you when those do pop up in your business. And we're going to share a really cool resource with you that has really helped us boost the amount of reviews that we get on the positive side, and a great resource for catching those negative reviews before they even make it to Google. So stay with us till the end, so we will share with you that. But yeah, so you want to share negative reviews?
How much in depth should we get with this? It's pretty in depth. So we obviously with services, we take appointments and things of that nature. We had and I'm using this in quotes, a customer who had never been there before. She made a booking 2 weeks prior, and I got a call on the day, and so we ran a flash sale. $25 off of a service.
Mhm.
And we did it on July 4th, and it actually does well for us. And people who have current who've been to the store before, they take advantage of things like that, and it's great. And it's not really for new people; it's for current people, and it works well. And it was awesome because the store was closed. It was one of the days that we close, and you generate some income. So it's a win-win in my opinion. Well, um, that next day, which was I believe it was a Wednesday,
Your
my
birthday.
birthday, yeah, at 9:08 a.m. We open at 9:08 a.m. I get a call. And this woman isn't being overly upfront, and she's kind of dancing around and was like, "Hey, I want to take advantage of that deal of the flash sale." And I was like, "Absolutely, go for it. Use the link, go for it." And I was thinking maybe it was had to do with some timing or something. I
Yeah.
was I was I was pretty
You
unclear.
just did 24 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just did 24 hours, and we are literally the most like I'm the
Lenient.
most lenient about people canceling or whatever. Like, I just don't want to get into that conversation just because of, not because of things like this, because I want people to get a ton of value and enjoy the service. And I think what we have is next level. But basically, what it turned down to is she had purchased and made a booking 2 weeks prior. Well, we send out, and she had booked a lot of different things. And I didn't know this at the time as much, but to me at the time, it was honestly, it was irrelevant. And she had purchased three services, three hour long services. And yes, we had run a discount on those. Well, and she had also been gifted probably
Additional
an additional
services. Yeah.
$250 worth of services. I didn't know that at the time, but apparently she didn't either. But she goes and she wants to now take advantage of that for an appointment that's 2 weeks in the future. And I declined. I said, I no, I'm like, you can use that for more credits. Absolutely. You purchased this 2 weeks ago. And I wasn't like, hey, company policy dictates. I was just I just said we're not comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
Looking forward to having your business, and in the future, when you get here, you're more than welcome to take advantage of it. Like I said, the woman she had never been in here before. Well, the conversation goes back and forth, along the lines of, hey, most companies will allow you to do that. And I said, well, we're just not most companies.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, and I probably didn't say I'm sorry, but I was just like, I just it's not
Yeah.
I'm not as a business owner, I'm not comfortable doing that. She's, well, I need to talk to a manager or somebody that'll allow me to do that. And I said, well, you got him. It doesn't get any higher than me. So, and it just ended. She was like, well, I want to go ahead and refund me for
Yeah.
for those
Right.
credits,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to go ahead and purchase them at that discounted rate. And I was like, no, you're trying to circumvent this. This is
Yeah.
not. I was just not okay, and I wasn't. I was probably. It got to a point where she kept circumventing and trying it, and really would not take no for an answer. To where I just had to be the point of where I probably got firm towards the end and said, "Look, no, this is just not happening."
Yeah.
And that's really where it boiled down to. And I said, I'll be more than happy to, I'll be more than happy to refund you your money. Go ahead, that's fine. And she questions me, is like, well, don't you want to sell the service? And I was like, well, honestly, ma'am, it's a Saturday. These are going to sell. It's in 2 weeks. Thanks for calling before. That way we'll have a chance to sell these. So I'm not really concerned with that, but thanks for your concern. I'll go ahead and I'll get that refunded for you. Good luck in the future, whatever, and then
Part of
we
ways.
parted ways. Yeah, hung up the phone. And I processed a refund on the spot.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just it. I don't know. To me, I guess it might be a personal thing, and I'm not judging anybody any other way, but like, I'm not going to call somebody to do that, I
Yeah.
guess. So for me, I guess it took her a minute. Maybe she felt like I was condescending in the fact that I didn't really understand what she was trying to do in the first place. Because I would never do that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, of course we wake up, I think no harm, no foul. She actually got a receipt of she got a receipt of the refund that said, thank you, Kyle, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, okay, fine. Well, we wake up the next morning and there is a 3 paragraph long
1 star.
1 star review
To the
yeah, just and I was
Yeah.
it was
And feeling sucks when you
yeah,
get that. But I really wanted Kyle to go into that much detail because I want you to know that it's okay to set boundaries as a business owner
100%.
to I don't want you to feel like you need to do things to prevent the one-star review. Kyle knew when he had that conversation. He called me right after, and we knew that that was going to result in a
Yes.
negative review. You just feel it, you
Yeah.
know, like the customer wasn't happy, and there was just no way to make them happy in that situation. But
Aside from 100% devaluing our product, I mean,
right,
it was, I mean, it would have been, I don't know, it would have been a terrible, like,
yeah.
we couldn't do that.
Yeah, and there are situations where you need to hold true. If it is not, you know, you don't need to be going above and beyond for someone just to make them happy when it's going to cause your business to suffer, right? Like we would have lost money on that, and
We were already taking a loss,
yeah,
to be honest
yeah,
with you. And it was a sheer fact of she just wanted an additional $75. And I was just not comfortable doing that.
yeah,
And we do, we have a mentality that not all customers are our customer. I mean,
right,
not all people
right,
are our customers. I've like, especially now that there's a very limited amount of time that people can book these services, and it's prime time. And I just this mentality that everybody gets a discount, it's doesn't have to be that way.
yeah,
I know our market value. I know we're right on point with the market. And I know I've been to these other places. I know our experience is way
yeah,
above and beyond.
yeah,
So for me and how I know that is we're full a
yeah,
week and a half out. She had a prime time spot. And I did. I explained that to her that
right.
would have gotten taken care of, but it just, you have to,
Know your limits. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? The way that, how I guess the direction that I went was I think fine. It may have been in the how it was explained that I could have possibly changed it, and a learning moment for me. But and like I was telling Joanne, it, it reached a certain point where she was just not going to hear. She was just not going to
exactly.
take.
Yeah,
She was just
yeah,
not going to take no for an answer. And it was just I had to be firm with her to say, look, we're not comfortable doing
right.
that. So
Yeah. So,
so
you know, if you have those customers that are just never going to be happy, they're not fitting the culture or environment of your business, you know, it is okay to part ways with a customer and then say, you know what, it might be best if you find this service or product somewhere else, you know. So just know I know the feeling of not wanting a negative review so bad that I'm like willing to do anything, but sometimes we have to set those boundaries, and
yeah,
Kyle really, I think, did that well in this example here. Um, but you know, it did result in a negative review, so
did
we did have to handle it. So
we and we reached out to her.
yeah,
She replied to the email. We reached out and said, hey, look, I don't really know. And she made up a bunch of things. And of course, I mean, you guys can look at the review.
yeah,
You look at the review on there, and she left out a ton of details, of course, and said that I was rude. I was having a bad day. I must have been having a bad day. Incredibly condescending. It was like, I wasn't. It was literally my
yeah,
birth. It was literally my birthday.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's people see it and people don't,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
and also too, like now that we've had this business, like if you have a perfect 5.0 rating too, like, is that real? Like, you
You're
know what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah,
Like if
yeah.
you got a 4.8 and you've been open for 5 years, like
That makes sense.
you're
Yeah,
crushing
yeah,
it.
yeah.
You're crushing it. Whereas like if it's all 5.0s, like, okay,
Yeah, maybe.
uh,
Like, give me the juice.
yeah, right. Like not everything is perfect. Not everybody
Yeah.
has. Is that really an accurate?
You learn a lot with how businesses are handling those negative reviews. When I
Mm,
read the feed or how they're responding, and they're like, "So sorry, give us a call. We'll make things right." You're like, "Oh,
yeah,
okay." You
cool.
know, like you learn a lot about them. But so we shared our story of our latest negative review. That wasn't our first time, but you know, I
Was
think it
it? We
is
had
pretty
another one
minimal.
too. That other, yeah,
You
that was
know,
just,
once being a service-based business, people can be very particular. Like, you know, if you have little dirt on the floor or something,
yeah,
you know, you gotta really those little things we learned when we first started doing
yeah.
services, I think, like
You're
cleaning
better off having them
maintenance.
be a half hour
Yeah,
late and getting everything
yeah,
perfect
yeah,
as opposed to rushing around. Yeah, but
yeah,
that's probably a topic for another day. But yeah, it's
yeah. But let's dive into our advice for how to handle the reviews. So, um, the first thing I want you to do is you get a negative review is make sure that they actually came into your business or were a customer. This
Exactly.
client, yes, kind of the situation we did have, so,
Yeah.
we needed to handle it. But there are times when I have seen people go after other people's businesses that have, like, never even been there, or their friend had a bad experience, so then they had 10 of their friends try to
Right.
go leave a negative review too. I've
Right.
seen that before, and Google recognizes those, and you can fight those. So, I mean, I'm sure other ones, Yelp and
Right.
Apple, I don't know where everybody gets their reviews, but I know specifically Google, which is where we focus for our reviews. If you, you know, fight
Find
the
it. Protest
review,
them. Yeah.
protest the review, you can tell them, hey, this person's never been in my business, and they a lot of times they will take it
Right.
down. So first make sure that they are actually a customer, that it was, maybe it's the wrong business,
Well, we had that
right?
happen exactly, right? And we were a victim of effective SEO because the guy was at another store that did the same thing and goes on and leaves us this scathing review. And he was talking about how both girls on staff last Saturday
Yes.
were, I had approached by two women, two women. I was like, wait a second, I worked by myself.
We don't have females on
We didn't even
staff
have females on
besides
staff
me.
besides you. That was it. And I was like, wait a second. And it just didn't. And we ended up we ended up contacting the guy and whatever. And he did remove the review. He
Yeah.
was actually, and that was honestly because Joanne was pretty cool to the guy too. It was like he was like, wait a sec, and because it was handled that way, the guy actually removed the review. So, just dig in a little bit is
Yeah.
kind of what we're saying and verify for sure.
Yeah, definitely make sure. And, if you're getting a bunch of negative reviews at the same time, it usually is a situation where people are like, everybody go leave a bad review, which, people
Yeah.
I think they need therapy when they do that.
Yeah.
It does happen. So step one, make sure that they actually came into your business, that it's actually your business. And if it wasn't, fight the review first. But the key here is you don't want to reply to the customer before you contact support to protest it. Because if you reply to the customer, a lot of times Google will then you'll have a harder time removing it. So don't reply first if they haven't been into your business. Contact customer support and see if you can get it taken down.
Cool. Perfect.
So if you determine they have been in your business, then we've got this handy little acronym for you for handling the review. And the acronym is PAUSE. And I liked this because I think that is the number one thing you need to do, which is what the P stands for, which is pause.
And that's pause like stop, not pause like dog paws, like puppy paws. They would be a lot cuter. But no, she's right. Pause. Pause.
I know when, like, even though we knew, like, this example we shared with you earlier, we knew it was coming. We knew the negative review was coming, but when it came, it still hit us
Yeah.
weird. And our first instinct is like, you know what, lady, we were, giving you $150 in discounts. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, you get fired up. This is your business. This is your baby. You take things personally. That's our natural instinct, right?
Yes.
And it's so helpful to just pause. And I even like to take like an hour to, just take some time before you respond so that you're not using emotion with your response, right?
Yeah, we do. We're lucky. We're in, and I don't know if this fits into another thing, but or maybe I'm jumping the gun here. But like, we're so networked now that we post the review. We posted the review on one of our Facebook groups that we're friends with, that we're heavily involved with, and they kind of helped us kind of walk
Come
through
up
it
with,
too, come up
yeah.
with stuff. That was another thing that was big. But that comes to the point of what Joanne's saying, like I was ready to roll right away. I mean, I was ready. I knew what the deal was, and it was just, the woman said I was condescending. There was just this. It was just so textbook. It was just awful, and so I was ready to roll. But taking a second and relax. You can't once it's up on the internet.
Yeah.
It's there. It's there forever. So you got it, and keep in mind, people can see through
Yeah.
what the situation is and sit here,
Right.
as they read and look and like Joanne said, how you handled the review is can actually be a lot more beneficial
Yeah. Yeah.
than
Than what somebody said.
yeah. Yeah.
So P is for pause. Then we got A. A is for acknowledge. So anytime the customer says something, even if you don't agree with what they're saying, you gotta acknowledge their feelings,
Sure.
acknowledge their frustrations. So
I hear what you
I
say.
usually say, I'm sorry that this situation was so frustrating for you,
Yeah.
or I'm sorry that, you missed your appointment or whatever it was. But just acknowledge them. Starting off with that acknowledgement can go a long way to, okay, I hear you
Right.
and I'm listening to what you're saying,
Right.
right? So we have pause, acknowledge, you is understand. So try to put yourself in their shoes and understand where they're coming from, So pause, you acknowledge them and you say, I'm sorry this situation was so frustrating. And then I understand that
You may have
you
felt
were
that
you
way,
were
or yeah,
yeah,
or had a
right.
certain expectation. Right.
Yeah, or I even go back and ask, like, Kyle, hey, what happened with this customer? And he'll say, she was 30 minutes late for her appointment. So, yeah, we had to cut her off after 30
Yeah.
minutes. So I'll say, hey, I'm sure it was really frustrating that you didn't get a full hour for your service. It's my understanding that you did show up 30 minutes late.
Right.
Like seek to
Right.
really understand the situation from your employees, from that person, so that you can
Look at your
present
ring
off of that,
camera.
right?
Yeah, all that
Right?
stuff.
So pause, acknowledge, understand, and then S, we have seek to resolve. So you always want to find a resolution, even if, it is a really difficult customer, and even if the resolution is just, I'm giving you a refund, go find somewhere else, like
Yeah.
this lady, like our resolution for her was, we're just going to refund you your money and you can find somewhere else to have your birthday party.
Best of
And
luck getting
yeah,
a 4 hour
so
experience of an entire store for
yeah,
$225. But please, yes, but
we're not bitter at all.
best of luck to you on that. It was,
Right.
yeah,
But seek to find some sort of resolution. And a lot of times with reviews, that's just, hey, contact the store and let's figure something out for you.
yeah,
Or, and sometimes if people are just frustrated, if you just offer them like a small discount on their next visit, you don't have to pull out the red carpet, but just acknowledging that they're frustrated. And, if you want to continue to build a relationship with this customer, hey, we're going to make this right. And, we've had situations where customers were upset and we made it right and made it up to them with like a small discount or a free service. And some of those are people
yeah,
are our best customers
yeah.
today, because they respected us so much for finding a resolution. They were happy and now they're huge advocates for us. And it's like, so you can turn these negative situations
We've
for
made
good.
we've made mistakes. We make mistakes, and I say,
Yeah.
look, I am as high as it goes. I own this place. How can I make this better for you? It's my
Yeah.
goal to give you the perfect, and I agree, ma'am, that was not the perfect, nor was it a great representation of the services and experience that we provide. And I would like to do that for you.
Right.
And they value that so much. I mean, we changed over things lately this last week. So we've been doing that a lot lately, but people respect that and they see that. And if you're able to kind of show them a way that they can still have this and just make it right. It really helps. They really appreciate that. And like, I mean, we're in the float business. Things break. People don't show
Yeah.
up. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, hey man, I'll put a credit on for you. I understand you had to come through,
Yeah.
yada, yada, yada. And a million times, just recently, hey man, you really made it right. You went above and beyond to make it right. And that's,
Yeah, people value
they
that.
value
Not
that.
every business will go above and beyond. You see, especially with online businesses, it's like people will fight tooth and nail just to try to get something refunded. They get horrible customer service and then they never shop from that company again. But as a brick and mortar, you have the luxury of really getting to understand how you can make things right and resolve the issue and keep them coming
Yeah.
back.
Those are big. Those people are fans too. They tell, like they understand if you've communicated well enough that this doesn't happen all the
Yeah,
time and how you handle that situation, they become fans.
yeah.
They really do.
So we had P, which was for pause. A, acknowledge the customer and what their emotions were. U is understand the situation, understand where they're coming from. S is for seek to resolve the issue. And then E is explain how to prevent the situation from happening again. So usually this is just your chance to say, hey, you know, we don't normally have like somebody complained about our float water one time, and we explained how we clean our water, how,
Oh yeah.
we So this is your
The
chance
lady
to kind of
demanded to get
explain.
a tour of the store, and the tank wasn't even open, but she had to look at the room. And of course, one of us showed her the room, and it looked like hell. But we didn't trick her into floating into the thing. It's just, you never. But and one thing I will say too, yes, you want to explain that to the customer for but I see this as internally, like what processes can you change that would have prevented that from
Yeah.
happening. Now, on the receipt with the woman that we had, this most recent one, we should have been sending. She should have gotten a receipt showing all the discounts,
Yeah.
showing everything else that she had. Now, in our haste and in our time, and the fact that we're busy, I'm sure we probably just ran her up 3 credits, blocked off the schedule, put a note, told her we were going to do it, did a note in there, and moved on. She didn't get anything tangible showing that, you're getting 3 additional hours of sauna, you're getting all these other things at this value, and if they can tangibly see that you're being, and they can show the total discounts, I'm sure she wouldn't have. She just took for granted, because she wasn't aware of the added value. So that was something that we really learned and have now used and is now put into policy moving forward. Also, we won't tour a float room that's not perfect.
Yeah.
It's just we just won't. We
Yeah.
just won't anymore. Lesson learned, So
Yeah. I like that. I like the explaining to the customer how, the situation, you're going to prevent the situation from happening again. And then also looking at your internal procedures and looking at, do we need to change something to prevent this from happening again? Because sometimes these are like one-time flukes, but sometimes these are things that, oh shoot, that could be happening more than we think,
right.
And how can we keep this from happening? So it's really, it is a good chance to opportunity to reflect and just look at how you can be better.
It's an opportunity to get better. Yeah, it's a learning opportunity to get better for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's what small business is.
Yeah.
You're learning all the time, and these are great learning opportunities. So it's not something you should look at as, you know, we suck, people hate us. No,
Yeah.
this is just an opportunity to grow, and I know these can be so hard on you mentally and emotionally sometimes when people leave a negative review, but I encourage you to not take it personally and know that for every one person who might have something negative to say, there most certainly are 100 people who would have something positive to say.
Yeah, that's why it's key to get the positive reviews.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's key to watch those out.
Yeah.
It really is.
So let's recap on the pause, and then I do want to talk about a great resource for increasing the amount of reviews you get and filtering out those negative reviews. So the acronym was PAUSE. So when you get a negative review, first I want you to go and make sure that they've been into your business and they're an actual customer and they're talking about your business. If not, contact support and try to get that review removed. If not, then I want you to pause, and P is for pause, A is for acknowledge, U is for understand, S is seek to resolve, and E is explain how you're going to prevent the situation from happening again, and look at yourselves internally and what you can do to improve. I hope that's helpful. I really wish we would have had this information 5 years ago, but we definitely learned this along the way. Um, but let's shift gears here and talk about an awesome review and feedback tool that you can use. And there's quite a few different softwares that do this, but there are softwares out there that basically you can implement. So when a customer comes into your business, you will send them a text when you that you get collect their customer data like we always are saying, and then they'll get a text or an email after. You can set this up to where it's a couple hours after or a couple days after, whatever makes more sense for your business, and you basically ask them to rate your service. Usually it looks like rate us 1 through 5, and if they do a 4 or a 5, then it prompts them to leave a review on Google. And then if it's 3 or below, then it just asks them for feedback, and that feedback is sent to us directly. So then we can respond to the customer and resolve the issue before it even hits Google.
Right.
So they feel like they're getting their voice heard, they're leaving their negativity, but then you can reach out to them and say, hey, I saw this happen before they even had the opportunity to go to somewhere like Google or something. This has been huge for us.
Yeah.
It hasn't, I don't think we've had to filter out much negative, luckily, but for us, it's just been huge on getting people to leave us reviews on Google
Right.
because it's sending them that reminder. We personally like to do it within just a few hours after their service. People usually leave very excited, very relaxed, like on cloud nine. So if we hit them like within, before the day's over, they are excited and, want to say 4 or 5, and then we get them on Google. So, these softwares are awesome. So we have our POS that does this for us now. We use Zenoti for our booking software. So if you're a service-based business or use Zenoti, they do have this feature. Use that. But there are a couple others out there. One's called Bird's Eye. This one's a little more expensive. They have a lot more than just this feature, but it's something to check out. It might be right for your business. But one that I did do a demo for recently and was very costly was called True Review. It was only like $50 a month, and it's just this exact service. So there's no, Bird's Eye. I think there's like 50 different things that they do. This was just $50 a month for just this service. It can integrate, I think, with a lot of your POS systems or different softwares. So check them out. From what I saw in the demo, it looked like a great service. We wound up doing a whole full booking software overhaul, so that's why we didn't move forward with them. But highly, highly recommend getting this. It's just a great opportunity to boost your reviews, and it can really keep you from getting those negative reviews.
Yeah. You have to get, we don't, if you look at the sheer volume of the negative reviews, it's pretty insignificant because we get positive reviews. And you have to incentivize them and you have to put that in front of their face and you have to do a lot of that.
Be afraid when people are leaving your business. Hey, it would mean a lot if you leave
Yeah.
a review, or
I say it all the time.
if they say something positive, like, "Man, this experience was amazing." Hey, would you mind putting that on Google?
Yeah, when
That
people
would
are
be
walking out, I'm always like, hey, do me a solid and leave me a Google review or share me on Snapface or Instabook or whatever, and they laugh and it help, and then they do.
Yeah,
They do.
people would like to support you, and so there's definitely sometimes they just need a little encouragement or a reminder. Like, that's why I love this software that just reminds them a couple hours after they leave, and they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I do need to go leave that review," right?
Yeah.
So. Awesome. Well, I hope you enjoyed our negative review story. It happens, but I hope that now you feel more equipped to handle them. Any last words of wisdom, Kyle?
No, just, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It is, no matter how good you think you are, somebody might be having a bad day or there was something lost in communication. It's gonna happen. The key is to not have it be devastating to you because you're getting so many other positive reviews.
Yeah.
Like I said before, a 4.8 score for somebody who's been in business for 5 years is exceptional.
Yeah.
It's exceptional. And it's, to me, it's more authentic, I
Yes.
guess, because if you are working hard and you are doing you are working on your mission, you are going to, you got to you got to crack a couple eggs to make an omelet.
Yeah.
You just do. You just do. But, as long as you're respectful and you're communicating what is best for you, and you come from a good heart, it can work out for sure. For sure.
I think those are great words to end on.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Hope you have a good week. We will see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to the Receipt Paper Podcast, your go-to source of information for starting and growing a successful brick-and-mortar business. Subscribe to hear future episodes and share this content so that more people can access these valuable insights. If you're looking for more resources to help you with your brick-and-mortar business, visit masterbrickandmortar.com or follow us on Instagram at masterbrickandmortar. Thanks again for listening to the Receipt Paper Podcast. We'll see you in the next episode.